Canada has become an insane country. So a couple of days ago, the Canadian Parliament invited Zelenskyy. They invited the Ukrainian leaders, and Trudeau was there. Most of the people from Parliament was there, and what happened in Canada is that they were basically honoring Zelenskyy. They were showing support for Ukraine, and someone in that audience was apparently a war hero, which is what Canadians were saying that day, is that, oh, we have a great guest here. We have someone who fought against Russians like 70 years ago. And so they invited a 98-year-old Ukrainian who fought against Russians during World War II, and they all gave applauses. They were all excited that he was there, and even Zelenskyy was like, wow, amazing, this man is amazing. Well, it turns out that this guy was basically part of an SS division during World War II for the Nazis. So they all gave applause to a Nazi. Zelenskyy, Trudeau, the Speaker of the House for Parliament in Canada, they all applaud this guy, and now the whole world, the Canadian Jewish community, they're all mad. They're all upset, rightfully so, because how the heck do you have one of the most powerful countries on earth fail in actually vetting the guests that they invite? And first of all, if you have a veteran that fought against Russians during World War II, it's very easy to understand, wait, 70 years ago, wasn't that World War II? Didn't the Germans start the war? So that means, oh, we're defending Nazis. That's what the Canadians did. So Canada's Trudeau is apologizing after Nazi veteran is praised in Parliament. So Trudeau is apologizing. And of course he has to apologize because, A, he did a mockery out of Canada. Canada is so idiotic that they became a joke overnight. And the whole world's laughing. Trudeau has to apologize because then his party's going to get hammered. They're going to get destroyed in the next election cycle in Canada. And he has to apologize. And worst of all, the Speaker of the House for their Parliament resigned. So in CNN, it states that the Canada House Speaker resigns after celebrating Ukrainian veteran who fought for Nazi unit in World War II. And, the Speaker, I'm just going to read part of CNN. So the Speaker of the Canadian House of Commons, Anthony Rota, resigned his post Tuesday, days after he praised a Ukrainian veteran who fought for a Nazi military unit during World War II. On Friday, following a joint address to Parliament by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, Rota allowed Yaroslav Hunka, who's the Nazi guy that they praise, 98, as a Ukrainian-Canadian war hero who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russian aggressors then and continues to support the troops today. So, he was 98 years old. He fought against Russian aggressors. Well, first of all, it's actually incorrect what was stated there. So, Russians were not the aggressors back then. It was actually Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany decided to invade the Soviet Union in World War II. It wasn't that Russia basically was invading Germany and Romania. No, Nazi Germany invaded France, they invaded Norway, they invaded Belgium, they invaded a lot of countries, including the Soviet Union, which was basically Russia back then. They were not the aggressors. The Soviet Union they were not the aggressors against Germany. So not only did the Speaker of the House have his information incorrect on this guy, but he had his history incorrect as well. So, of course he's going to resign because he's an idiot. So, it's just pure insanity that you have an entire government that's incapable in actually vetting properly. And let's just take a look at what actually happened that day. Let's take a look at a video that one of the media sites actually videotape. So let's see what really happened.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian-Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
Look at that. Everyone is applauding. Everyone is applauding.
He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service.
Wow. Look at that. That is the group that this former Nazi veteran basically was a part. He was a part of the SS. And just look at that. Okay, you can pause the video. I mean, so he wasn't just part of the Wehrmacht, which was basically the army for, for Germany back then in World War II. He was a part of the SS. And for people that don't know history, the SS was basically the paramilitary force for Hitler himself. So Germany had, the army, they had the Air Force, the Luftwaffe, but they had the SS, which was basically like the fourth branch for Germany, not really in par with the military, but it was basically Hitler's secret police, in essence. It's his own little military, his own little militia. These people were responsible for the Holocaust. These people were responsible for liquidating Ukrainians and liquidating Russians in territories that they conquered. These people were the architects of the Holocaust. So not only did they didn't just praise a army veteran from Germany. No, they praised a veteran from the SS, the people responsible for millions of deaths during the Holocaust. And it's so bad that now you have Poland's education minister, he's taking steps to extradite Jaroslaw Hunka. So Poland is basically saying, hey, we want him back. Like, he needs to face trial because what he did was horrible. And it's basically a shame that Canada is in this position right now. I mean, the whole world is getting mad. Poland is wanting him back because that's how bad he was. And of course, people are going to be saying, well, Zelenskyy and Trudeau, they didn't have a clue. How are they supposed to know? Or the Speaker of the House, you have a government that is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. They could have easily have vetted him. But they didn't. Of course, the Russian media, they're right now having a field day because they can easily play that video and say, look, the United States and Canada, they're supporting Nazis. Wow, amazing. It proves our point. The Nazis, they're all in line with the U.S. and Canada. That's why we must liberate Ukraine. So this was a horrible PR campaign for the West and people that are supporting Ukraine, and a huge boost for Russia. I mean, Russia's having a field day. So, of course the speaker's going to resign. Trudeau's going to be apologizing. But it gets worse. So if you go to an article from The Nation, Canada has several Nazi monuments for this division that the Ukrainian guy, the 98-year-old, was a part of. They don't have just one. They have several Nazi monuments that actually honor this division, this Galician division from Ukraine. And it's just mind-boggling how Canada, being very liberal, first of all, the radical left, they control Canada and they control many Western countries. But it's so interesting how they like to paint right-wingers as Nazis. They like to paint us as, these evil and racist. But the minute they do a major hiccup, or the minute that it's realized that they still have several monuments basically supporting, dead Nazi soldiers that shouldn't even be remembered. First of all, the Nazi regime was a horrible regime that shouldn't be remembered. Same thing with the Soviet Union, same thing with Japan, same thing with Italy. Any autocratic nation that has existed throughout history should not have any monuments to remember them, to remember those soldiers. And of course, the Nation has a paragraph, and I'm going to read part of the paragraph. So the monument in question is a cenotaph honoring members of the SS Galiciana division of the Waffen-SS, the Nazi Party's military branch, whose long list of war crime includes the Holocaust, The pillar, which is located in a Ukrainian cemetery in Oakville, Ontario, was vandalized with the words Nazi War Monument, sometimes around June 21. Of course, the article is talking about how people have vandalized these monuments, rightfully so, because there shouldn't be any monuments whatsoever. But it talks in detail how this group was basically responsible for the Holocaust, and, they committed atrocities, and Canada still has those monuments. Canada still has those monuments to this day. And if you go to Yaroslav Hunka's Wikipedia, if you go to his Wikipedia, you can actually see the division. So it was the SS Division Galicia, which was the Ukrainian division. And basically it states here, in 1943, Hunka volunteered to join the 14th Waffen Grenadier Division of the SS at 18 years old. He said his reason for enlisting was following the call of the Ukrainian National Committee to fight the Ukrainian independence. During his time in the SS Galician, he was photographed training in Munich and Neuhammer. In 1944, Hunka was deployed into combat against Red Army forces to the Eastern Front of World War II. And of course, he just goes into detail of what they were doing. But he was very involved. This division was very involved. And of course, there were some Ukrainians that wanted independence during this period because Nazi Germany occupied Ukraine. And, as a result, some of the nationalists there took advantage of it, and they actually joined the Nazi war effort. Of course, they lost, and they eventually were pushed back, and, Nazi Germany was defeated in 1945. But this is the guy that they endorsed. This is the guy that they praised. And for some reason, Wikipedia has a little section that says this article is being considered for deletion in accordance with Wikipedia's deletion policy. I don't know what the heck's going on there, but it looks fishy that they're basically saying it's in deletion process right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just trying to cover for Trudeau or cover for Canada. But, Zelenskyy, Trudeau, Biden, all of the globalist oligarchs that are supporting Ukraine, we're spending billions of dollars for this joke. And I will say, Ukraine does have a large presence of neo-Nazis. They have the Azov Battalion, which has thousands and thousands of members in it that actually do sympathize with neo-Nazi ideology. And we're sending billions and billions of dollars to support people like him, to support Ukraine, which is an endless war. It's not going to end anytime soon. And the only people that are benefiting from this war is Lockheed Martin and some other, military contractors and companies. It's never going to end. The Ukraine war is a waste of taxpayers' money. It's a waste of taxpayers' money. And Canada, if this happened in the U.S., any country that's supporting Ukraine, to be honest, deserves to be mocked right now. And Canada right now is the joke of the day. It is the joke of the whole world right now because it's embarrassing what they did. And rightfully so, they deserve to be mocked and, of course, condemned. Because what they did was idiotic. Didn't make any sense whatsoever. And it just proves the point. The whole Ukraine war is a joke. It's a complete, total joke. We need to be done with that war. Stop spending billions of dollars into that conflict that we're basically just prolonging. So, Canada, I recommend you to just read some history books.